Hello and welcome into the OnlyBets Sports Podcast alongside SternBets and DrewDelucchi. I'm PrinceOfPicks. We've got a great slate of action taking place today on Thursday. We've got the sports landscape covered for you. We've got Champions League, Europa League, of course, on the pitch, on the ice as well. We are finishing up the regular season, so we've got a few games left to go before we head into the playoffs over the weekend. On the ice, of course, the NBA is heading into the playoffs as well. We are off for the NBA tonight. The final play-in games will be played tomorrow night. That's Friday night. So we will wait and see if there's any late injury reports or roster updates or anything that we need to know about before we're giving some plays for that. And then, of course, we've got major leagues in action as well. Action in the ballparks tonight. So I'm sure the boys will have some great picks for that, and we'll, of course, give you our home run sprinkles. And so, yeah, we've got a lot of sports taking place. Of course, we're eager to get into it. Before we do, if you guys can do us a quick favor, head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, wherever it is that you listen to us, rate, review, subscribe. We really appreciate it. All the support has been tremendous. But we are going to continue to do our best to grow this channel and give you guys winning tickets. With that being said, let me go ahead and pass it over to Mr. SternBets. Mr. Mosh, good morning, good sir. How are you?
Good morning. We're doing fantastic. We just did, this is our try number 2 on Twitter Spaces. Not fun with the technical details there. Not sure how much we want to review it, but Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, an absolute banger of a match yesterday. And then the Arsenal Athletic game, that was unbelievable analysis. I think we both nailed that. There was a 0-0 game. We both had the under. I was surprised that the under 2.5 was at plus money. Although I will say Athletic did have their chances, went off the post, and that kind of probably fundamentally changed the game to continue being a lower scoring game. But if you're looking for absolute peak football, sorry, soccer for you Americans, us Americans, that's it. This is it. This Champions League is unbelievable, and I'm very excited to see what happens, coming up in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, we did just talk about it, guys, for about 10, 15 minutes. So you guys didn't hear you guys didn't hear that. So we'll try to give a brief summarization of basically what we were saying. But yeah, I mean, both me and Moshe, we were kind of regret not sprinkling a 0-0 scoreline on the Arsenal Sporting game last night because we both were heavily on the under. I mean, I think that was a consensus play. To be honest, I think most people were on the under that one, and that absolutely lived up to the boring game that we all thought it would be. But Arsenal did what they had to do. They got through. So now they're going to be taking on Atletico Madrid in the semifinals, which we'll see about that one. I'm expecting, probably Atletico. I'd give the slight favor to them in that one, just because I think Arsenal's kind of on a downslide right now, as they are choking away the EPL as we speak here. Manchester City, Arsenal, by the way, massive matchup here over the weekend, likely to determine who wins the EPL. So definitely one you're going to want to tune into. But in any case, we're looking at the other match, though, the one that we're all talking about, of course, right? Bayern Real Madrid. That one lived up to expectations and then some. I mean, what a match that ended up being. Full disclosure, I was on the under first half too. That pushed at about 6 minutes into the game. So definitely didn't see that one coming. But wow, goals. A lot of fun. And like me and Moshe were talking about earlier, I've been on this Bayern team for over a month and a half ago. We talked about futures plays that we were looking at for teams to win it all, and my pick was for Bayern. And at that point, you were getting them around plus 600, plus 650. Arsenal was actually the favorite at that time, and we both thought that was kind of the wrong play. We didn't really believe in Arsenal, and that turned out to be somewhat true, although they're still in it. But I still don't think they're the top team here. But Bayern has everything. I mean, they offensively, defensively. Now they do give you chances, but they are so prolific in scoring that they can literally just outscore you at any point. So love this Bayern team. I think they have everything that it takes to get all the way to the end here. The only problem is, unfortunately, the draw puts them against PSG, which, in my opinion, is the second best team remaining. So to me, that's really the final here: Bayern and PSG. The winner of that is likely going to win it all. And I think if you guys enjoyed the Bayern Real Madrid matchup, just wait until this PSG Bayern matchup takes place here. That because PSG does everything Real Madrid does, but just a little bit better. And so you're going to see absolute end-to-end action in that one. In my opinion, I think you're going to see goals galore. Both teams going to play on the front foot. Neither one of them really like to play defensive, so it's going to be super, super fun to watch and a lot of fun to bet on as well. But yeah, Champions League is in full action here, and we love it.
So just a reminder, and again, we talked about this in our previous broadcast, but you put a plus 500 ticket on Bayern Munich to win it all, maybe a month or a month and a half ago during the Sweet 16, not Sweet 16, sorry, round of 16, whatever it's called.
Sure, we'll call it Sweet 16.
I'm holding that ticket personally. Is this something that we want to hedge on now with PSG just a little bit, or are we just riding it out?
To me, honestly, that's probably a personal preference. For me, I'm still riding it out. I think Bayern is just a little bit better than everyone else in the world. I think they have the most prolific offense in the entire world, club soccer right now. I mean, if you wanted to hedge and you wanted to, play something on PSG, I wouldn't hate it. But for me personally, I'm just going to let it ride because I like the value that we got on Bayern Munich, and I think I still think they're the favorites to win it all. So for me, I'll write it out.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat there. All right, let's look back on yesterday, how we did. Drew, I'm going to bring you in, brother. Welcome in. And well, first of all, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. Warriors won, so I'm happy.
That was quite the finish. They were down by what? Double digits, maybe in the third or fourth
13
quarter?
minutes with six. I mean, they're down 13 with 6 minutes to go.
Yeah, I thought that was dead and over. And I was at the bar with my friends and they kicked us out. And then when I got home, I was like, what the heck just happened? what just happened? That was quite, you know what? Give us a small little recap on what happened and over both games.
Oh yeah, definitely. I didn't watch much of the Magic Sixers game. I will say that because I was just watching baseball and stuff, hanging out with the family. But I'll definitely give a recap of the Warriors game. I was watching it, and something I will say is it's kind of like what I said yesterday. Not going to necessarily, like toot my own horn. I said one of the key things I said is experience of the Warriors and the pedigree and how I believe they are going to do better down the stretch, and they have the overall better, I would say, starting rotation in that regards. And they've been here, done that kind of thing before. And the Clippers rotation, they really just have Kawhi for experience wise. When Warriors were down, I never had a doubt because they kept coming back. Warriors had an overall great team effort. If you saw with the Clippers, the main person who was doing the most, I would say, was probably Benedict Mathurin. But we had clutch performances everywhere, whether it was Porzingis being extremely efficient, hitting timely threes, getting crazy putback dunks I didn't know he had in his bag. And then you have also Al Horford hitting 4 threes in a row for him. It was clutch. And then lastly, that man, number 30, you're never out of the game with him. He said basically, screw with the minute restrictions. And I figured that would happen. Like even like Kevin Harlan, them were saying, oh, they said they were strict about the 30 minutes. And I was thinking in my head, it was like, do you really think with like when he was already at 30 minutes with 4 minutes to go in the game, they're gonna be like, oh, he got his minute restriction and take him out? No, Curry's going to always have the say in that regard. And Curry just went kind of takeover mode in the third quarter, I noticed, and they pulled away. And then you just see there was like, we need to double team Curry. And they kept trying to do that. And after Al Horford went off, Curry hit a clutch dagger 3, got all hyped. And then lastly, I need to shout out to me, the unsung hero, not necessarily the best player on the court, the most important player, Steve Kerr, amazing coach. He made a great adjustment. He decided in the fourth quarter, I'm just going to put Draymond on Kawhi. He didn't just lock him up. He put him in a straitjacket. I don't know if Kawhi can have bail at all after that straitjacket he got put in. There was plenty of and Draymond at the very end was clutch steal after steal, and Kawhi didn't know what to do. I heard Kawhi is still trying to ask for bail, but he can't get out. So we'll see when he does.
That's pretty brutal, man. Well, anyway, congratulations, and I can't say I hope they get far, but it's going to be fun watching them play on. All right, let's get to yesterday's picks. I went 2-1, not including our show play, which went 0-1. The Clippers covered the 5.5 barely, but the Orlando Magic did not. Congratulations, Philadelphia. Also, good luck to you moving forward. Gonna watch you crash and burn. Sorry, just a little bitter. No home run picks. kind of getting frustrated. I got to work on my home run model to kind of work through that a little bit, seeing if I can get some better picks going on there. But like I said, we nailed the Arsenal Sporting under 3.5, the Bayern Munich, Real Madrid over 2.5 cashed easily. The 2-leg parlay that I had was the Dodgers money line, the Mets team total under 4.5. That sailed on by, not even close, not a sweat in the slightest. Shohei Ohtani, still one of the best pitchers in the entire league. Very interesting to me how they let him only pitch. I think that was the first time in 5 years that when he pitches, he doesn't bat. Not sure how that actually translated to on the field, but interesting to kind of keep note of moving forward. And then, of course, the big news in hockey from our perspective, Tampa Bay Lightning just got demolished by the Rangers. I think it was 4-1 at the end of the second period. Not a great outing. So I guess, and I kind of should just follow my instincts here. I'm going to be out on the rest of the regular season in the NHL, and I'm just going to wait for playoffs to come when everybody has the proper motivation. Prince, how did you do yesterday?
Yeah, not very good. I'll be honest, guys. Full disclosure, we like to be transparent when we win and also when we lose. So yesterday was a losing day for me, no doubt about it. But it's all right. We'll move on. Today's a new day, and we'll try to rebound here and see if we can get some get
Bounce
back on the right
Thursday.
track.
Yep.
Bounce back Thursday. There you go.
You know what? Honestly, and I've said this a lot, and does not mean that you should change the amount that you bet at all. But when you have someone like Prince, I'd like to include myself in the category, or Drew. When you have a bad losing day, it always positively regresses over the seasons. So I love following people the day after they lose. Sometimes when they're on a crazy winning streak, I actually opt out at a certain point just because I'm freaking out that I'm like, well, negative regression has to come. And that's burned me before too. But something that's actually helped me is when I see like a really good capper and they have a really bad day, that's exactly the time that I want to jump in on their plays, because sooner or later they're going to turn it around. Drew, how did you do yesterday? I was watching that Phillies game at the bar. Luzardo was sailing on by, but somewhere towards, I think it was the 5th inning, just completely imploded. Maybe it was the 4th inning. What happened there with him?
Yeah, so it's kind of like what I said yesterday. He needs to avoid. I said he gives a Moses run through the 4th through 6th inning, and it was one of those. He imploded. I believe it was. I think it was the 5th inning, and then he got out of it. And they brought him back out, and he got an out, and then he was going to finish. I think he got a base run, and he was going to be able to finish it. But then I think it was Sosa who messed up a possible. I think it was a possible double play chance or whatever out of it. Anyways, he didn't necessarily deserve to. There's been something going on though with Jesus Luzardo. Even the Phillies announcers were kind of saying it to where when he's like when his bases are empty, he's absolutely amazing. When he's in the stretch, people, it's not like normally pitchers don't do as great a stretch, but his numbers are so drastic. It's very suspicious. It's like he's giving something away when he's in the stretch. Like batters are taking these like off speed pitches down the middle. It's like the announcers were thinking he's tipping his fastballs in the stretch and stuff like that. And they were even trying to figure it out. So they're trying to figure out with his mechanics because it was very suspicious. Like when the bases were empty, the Cubs didn't know what pitch was coming at all going on. And it's not illegal, guys, to read tipping pitches. Tipping pitches means there's something, a gesture that a pitcher is making that tips what the pitch is going to be thrown. But when the runner's on base, they like literally, it seems like they know what pitch is coming. So that was unfortunate for him there. Jake Irvin, under 15.5 outs, it covered. It was sketchy at first, and then he kind of got his pitch count really high. And the last inning, he struggled in the first, cruised 2 for 4, and he got out of it. Then the Guardians game was a push. It was like raining there, which I think suppressed offenses in general. So I was technically 1-1-1. So 1-1 because you got your money back in the other.
Yeah. Irving went 15 outs exactly. That was that was nice, and honestly a really good call. I put an extra 0.25 units on each one of those that I normally do. Also, really tough loss. I mean, not tough loss, tough void, I guess, because it ended 1-1. But I really thought that Cleveland should have had that first 5 money line. If you guys weren't watching in the first inning, they had a man on third, and then he went off on contact and got tagged out, which just killed the momentum of that game.
He had a lot of missed opportunities that game.
So many. All right, let's get into today. I'm very excited to get into it. Like I said, well, I guess like Prince said, there's no real NBA. I'm not delving into the NHL, but I do have a play coming up in about a half an hour, so I really want to jump into it. This is going to be a half a unit play for me. Pirates first 5 money line parlayed with their full game money line at minus 125. This is the last game of the series against the Nationals. We have two pitchers who look solid on the surface, but if you're looking under the hood, the Reds' Braxton Ashcraft really calls out to be more consistent going forward. His underlying metrics line up to what he has been able to do on the mound so far, as opposed to Foster Griffin, who has an 11.4% barrel rate, 19% strikeout rate, and those numbers combined are not going to be able to cut it against the Pirates team that, for all intents and purposes, is good for now, asterisk, because I don't necessarily think they're able to keep it up. But if they're going to keep it up for the next month or so, which they have been doing the last few years, this is the time to bounce back. I think Ashcraft, for comparison, has a 4.9% barrel rate to a 30.3% strikeout rate. The Pirates have the better bullpen, which really just kind of put the cherry on top for me. I'm not willing to pay the minus 150 or worse juice on either side of this, but I absolutely love parlaying the first 5 in the full game. If the price was better and I was able to get the first 5 money line or the full game money line, I would upgrade this to a full unit. But the fact that I had to parlay something together kind of just automatically downgraded the play for me. I'm going to bring it over to Drew. Do you have any thoughts on this game? And again, this is going off at 12:30. Actually might be a decent opportunity to hedge live. Nationals have been solid offensively, so I could see them getting a run or two early, which may make a really nice live betting opportunity. But anyway, Drew, how do you feel about this game?
Yeah, definitely. Foster Griffin has probably been statistically the best pitcher so far. Personally, he's been producing more so like ground ball kind of rate stuff. I think he has like a 1.7 ERA so far, but I do expect like regression there in that case. Braxton Ashcraft has been pretty decent, like you said. Something though I would say about this Nationals team is their bullpen is honestly the worst bullpen in the league. I think they've given up 20 home runs this year. So another thing that I wouldn't mind doing is if the Nationals it comes to like the first 5 is like 3-3, or the Nationals somehow win. I would say the first 5. Another thing you can do is live bet the Pirates if it's a very close game within that, because one of the reasons I say that is because the Nationals bullpen is terrible. Like they just get rocked constantly. So yeah.
Yeah, and something to keep in mind, I do kind of like where Pittsburgh's bullpen is. They ranked 14th right now in the league. Washington's ranked 26th. But one thing, if you're looking at opponents, or I should say teams' offense in the 7th inning on, Washington actually ranks first in the league, averaging 2.76 from the 6th inning on. They're averaging almost 3 runs per game. Not necessarily sustainable, but it is something to note that I would rather not go with a run line play. I'm focused solely on a money line play. And if you so get it, a team total, which is probably the best play that you can do there. Just for reference, Pittsburgh scoring 2 runs from the 6th inning on, which ranks 12th or 13th. Sorry. So yeah, anyway, that's a half a unit play for me. Drew, I'm going to pass it to you. Do you have any plays on the day before I get to my main play, which is going to be obviously for a full unit? What do you got for me, Dan?
Yeah, I have 2 plays. One's a strikeout play, one's an out play.
Oh, I
I'll go with the
love your
strike.
outplay. Sorry, go on. Yeah. Didn't mean
Oh
to
yeah, you're
interrupt.
good. Oh, yeah, you're good, man. I'll say my strikeout play first. I think this is very underpriced. I know usually when Vegas posts something, you have to be suspicious about it. When it comes to strikeouts and outs, I usually go with it if the metrics say I should. I think this is an overreaction to when the Tigers faced a lefty and Cole Reagans, and I believe it was the first lefty they actually faced, and Reagans only got 1 strikeout. But they're facing Chris Bubich now, who has gotten 11 strikeouts the last start, 8 the other. And lastly, the Royals starting pitching, even though their offense has been atrocious, their starting pitching has been, if you think about it, the best starting pitching we've seen in baseball. Is just the problem that the Royals, not many people watch them. I watch them because I used to live there, but they've had multiple starters just literally go into the seventh inning so many times. And I love his over 5.5 strikeouts here. The Tigers still have a lot of swing and miss. I think we saw Seth Lugo even strike out this much yesterday. We've seen multiple pitchers strike him out. I just think it was an overreaction to Reagan's only getting one strikeout as a lefty. Chris Bubich has very nasty stuff. I think he is probably their best pitcher, even though they expect Reagan's to be their ace. So I expect. All I'm asking for is because I expect him to at least go 6 innings. His out props really aren't up. I trust the strikeouts more to at least get like one strikeout per inning, which he can definitely get. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets more than that. So that's my first play.
Mute button, gotta find the mute button. All right, there it is. Sorry about that, guys. I just have so many tabs open because I was looking at the underlying metrics and the stats for this game, and I think you're 100% correct. Looking at Detroit's last 5 games, they only struck out 2 against Reagan's overall in the game, one on Reagan's, one in the bullpen. But the previous 4 games before that, they struck out 6 against Alcantara, 6 against Junk, 7 against Paddock, and 9 against Abel. If you're looking at Bubich, 11, 8, and 4. So how can you not play this? I think this is an absolute phenomenal play. Very much on board. Gonna actually start sprinkling a little bit more than my half a unit on this and your next play, which I think I love that one even more, even though I think that this play is unbelievable. Give me the Yankees, man. Give me that play. I'm really excited to get into that one.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love this play a lot. Go in kind of like detail in it, of course. So first, I'll say Max Fried over 18.5 outs. I believe it's plus 115 right now. The Yankees bullpen is absolutely fried, especially during the series. Actually, the wind's not blowing out anymore either, and I trust Max Fried to get the job done. Boone expects Max Fried to in the seventh inning at least, and so does Max Fried. He's covered this in every game so far this year. And I think the most important thing that we need to look at is, believe it or not, Max Fried, he's been in the league longer than people realize. He's never faced Mike Trout, let alone he hasn't faced most of these hitters in this lineup. Usually when you haven't faced an elite pitcher, like it doesn't account for all pitchers, but you haven't faced an elite pitcher like a Max Fried or a Skeens or a Scooble. I'm definitely going to put Max Fried up there. I think he's underappreciated. If you haven't faced someone like that, it's a vantage pitcher because you can't. Max Fried is, I would say, a unique pitcher. How his stuff moves and how his arm slot is. It's not quite Chris Sale, but it's kind of like between Chris Sale and Scooble for his arm slot. And he's a strike thrower. He can manipulate the ball well. He likes to create weak contact. Doesn't give up much home runs at all. And I think that's the key. And I think this is one of those scenarios where it'd be different. Like, oh yeah, people may say the reason why it's plus 15 is Max Fried pitched 8 innings last game. They're going to limit him. No, they're not going to limit him. They need Max Fried to go deep because they've used nothing but bullpen. They use more bullpen arms from pitches perspective than they have starters in the last 2 games against the Angels. So, yeah, give me Max Fried over 18.5.
Gosh, this mute button's really pissing me off. Yeah, Max Fried has a 0.0% barrel rate, which I'm not even sure how that's possible. Everything outside of his whiff to strikeout rate is phenomenal. 4.8% walk rate. Opponent's expected batting average down at 207. The expected on base average is 244. That number, just typically anything around 300 is fantastic. 30.8% hard hit rate. Nothing here. And I've talked about it before. Max Fried is just one of the elite pitchers in the entire league. Absolutely love grabbing any value on him. I actually wanted to take his strikeouts too, because I think he'll probably positively regress here, but it was juiced to the 6.5, which I thought was a little ridiculous. I can't love this play more though. I think that you're right. The Yankees bullpen is absolutely stretched. Not what we expected, just like last year and the year before that, whatever. I love them pushing him to the 6th or 7th inning. Honestly, to past the 7th inning.
Yeah, because as long as his pitch count is fine, which it usually is, and he's covered this every game, and also the fact that Max Fried is one of those pitchers that Boone trusts, and I know Max Fried in the past has gotten in the past when they first got upset with Boone for taking him out, and I think he learned from that as well too. He wasn't upset when he was taken out at 6 2/3 against the Giants too. So he's going to let Max Fried as long as Max Fried feels he can go. And I know he pitched 8 innings last game, around 100 pitches. I expect Boone to let him go 95 pitches. So he's an efficient pitcher. He usually averages, I think, like 10 to 15 pitches per inning. So that's always good to do with him. Another thing, I like I like the strikeout perspective because the Angels they can't strike out a lot when they're not hitting because they're free swingers. They're not one of those grinded out kind of they have more people that don't grind it out strikeout type pitchers where they'll strike out in 3 or 4 pitches rather than 6 pitches. So yeah.
Yeah. So I just made this play. I was looking for a way to kind of get in on this. I'm gonna take the Angels team total under 2.5 in the first 7 innings for a half a unit. I'm a little bit hesitant to this. I might parlay that. I wanted to kind of maybe parlay this with the Yankees first 5, but I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm just gonna trust Max Fried to get through 7 innings and also limit the Angels to less than 3 runs. I think that's a really nice play there. Just a half a unit, but I'm going to play that as well. All right. I do have one more play of the day. This is actually this is my favorite play of the day. I'm going to go to the Rays White Sox. Now, I do expect runs overall, decent hitting weather, but we're getting Steven Matz here for the Rays, and he's looked pretty good so far. Yeah, and Tampa averages 2.64 runs on the road in the first 5 innings. Comparing that to the White Sox, who only average 1.88 runs at home. That is an extreme difference of almost a full run, which really makes me feel comfortable backing the Rays on the road. And then again, like I started to say earlier, the difference in these pitchers scream out to me. White Sox are starting Anthony Kay. Not exactly sure how it's going to work out practically, but it looks like Anthony Kay is going to be starting for an inning or two and then passing the ball over to Jordan Leisure. So I'm going to talk about both of these pitchers here for the White Sox, neither of whom I'm willing to trust. Anthony Kay has a 9.3% barrel rate to a 55.8% hard hit rate. Combine that with a 17% strikeout rate, and he is just not going to have a good day. I would be surprised if he goes over 1 or 2 innings. They're probably just going to take him out at the first sign of trouble. And then Jordan Leisure has a 21.7% barrel rate, which is more than double a bad barrel rate. Nothing in his arsenal is really that great. He does have a decent strikeout rate at 25.5%, but the Rays rank second in the league, I guess, in not striking out. So if you're going to take away that decent weapon for him and they're going to get contact, I expect him to get good contact and I expect them to hit him hard. Going back to Steven Matz, I like where his stuff is at. The White Sox are striking out quite a bit. Not necessarily as much as they were in the years past, but they're not doing great by any means. Steven Matz has a 29% whiff rate to a 27% strikeout rate. Pretty much all of his numbers across the board are pretty solid. His walk rate's at 7.9%. Opponents' expected batting averages at 223. Little bit of trouble with hard hit contact, but like honestly, it's just above average at 42.5%. I really like him to being able to take care of the White Sox, who started out the season really well, but have lost, I think, the last 4 or 5 in a row. I think this is a really good spot for the Rays. And honestly, if you wanted to take them on the full game money line at -125, I don't mind that either. I think this is one of those days where the Rays get an easier type win. I think it's 6 in a row now if they win. So I like this play a lot. Drew, how do you feel about this game?
No, yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. Steven Matz, former Met, has been kind of turning back the clock a little bit. I do expect a decent amount of runs. I know the last bullpen start, when the White Sox had a bullpen start against the Blue Jays, they did pretty well. But I feel like there's like negative regression there in that case. I do like runs to be scored in this. It's pretty favorable weather. I think it's going to be in the 70s. So yeah, I do like because you said the over, right? 8.5.
I do like the over, but I'm really just going to stick with the Rays first 5.
Oh, you did Rays first five. My bad. I thought you said the over for some reason.
No, I
But
did.
I
I
do
mentioned that
like
to
the Rays
begin
first
with.
five.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
mentioned that to
I do
begin
like
with.
the Rays.
Both teams' bullpens are absolutely atrocious. So that's why I chose the first 5 innings. Not necessarily interested in getting into necessarily all of it, but Tampa Bay is ranked last in the league in runs given up in the 6th inning on, averaging 2.94. And then the Chicago White Sox are tied for 26th, giving up 2.56 runs in the 6th inning on. So not necessarily interested in getting into a bullpen who can hit better, which obviously I would still give the advantage to the Rays just based on their offense. But I think in the first 5, getting a -125 line on the Rays is excellent value.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. And if Chandler Simpson gets on base, it's basically a guaranteed run because he's going to be at third.
All right, so we've talked about a few of these games. Hopefully you got that Pittsburgh ticket in. Feel free to bet that live. Is there any other game that you want to kind of talk about? Not too many aces on the mound, not too many games even. But I thought that there was a few interesting spots like the Mariners Padres. I lean over just because I think that both people see these pitchers and are like, oh, they should give up a few runs. But both of these bullpens are really solid. So if you see runs early, that's really a good game to get in on unders for the full game. Any other live looks or anything that you're looking at, Drew, for the day?
Yeah. So first, I'm going to talk about um, what a choke job by the Mariners yesterday. Andres Munoz. It was unfortunate hits that Andres Munoz gave up, but then the Padres played small ball. They're down 6-2. They came back and ended up winning it. So shout out to them. But I kind of want to talk about that final game. I'm not gonna do anything pre-game right away because it's like the very last game. So I'm gonna see how like my bets do in the beginning of the day. But Walker Bueller, had a good start. Last start, granted, was against Colorado. But Rockies were coming in hot. But both bullpens are really good. I know the Mariners completely blew that yesterday, but I feel like this is a game where both pitchers are going to give up some runs. I think Walker Bueller right now to this point is a slightly better pitcher. Castillo, of course, is overall a better pitcher. He's one of the lead pitchers for most of his career. But Castillo has not looked good his last 2 games. Have always been shelled. He hasn't given up really any home runs, but that's the issue. He's been giving up a lot of like extra base hits, hard contact. People aren't being fooled by his pitches. He's not being like the strikeout guy we expected. His fastball doesn't have the same run value like we're used to. So I might do some kind of possible live bet with this game if I see it's like 3-3 because the Padres are underdogs right now. If it's like 3-3 going to the 7th inning, I might hit like a live bet for the Padres because if the Padres take any kind of lead after that, like a 1-run lead and it reaches the 9th, the Mariners are done because Mason Miller is going to come in and no one's touching him.
Yep. And that's kind of exactly what I said. A great game to look for a live under for the full game. And talking about teams that blew it, Toronto Blue Jays, they were winning 1-0 going into the 8th or 9th inning and then blew it to the Milwaukee Brewers, which really kind of that hurt me. I bet the Blue Jays personally yesterday. But today you're getting Patrick Corbin and Brandon Sproat, neither of whom have really good metrics. I could expect. This is also another game that I'm looking to bet live unders. Nothing I wanted to get into pre-flop, but that over under 8.5. If I get that at around 6.5, I'm definitely going to be betting the over. Neither team scored yesterday, but the game before that was a 9-7, and here it is, banger. So I like Milwaukee to kind of get back on track after getting a little bit of offense late last night, and then the Blue Jays are also offensively starting to kick it into high gear. So definitely a game that I want to bet on overs. All right, Prince, is there anything that you want to get to in the MLB or otherwise slate?
Yeah, I do have one official play. Then, of course, we'll go through our home run sprinkles. But for me, guys, the one play I'm looking at here is going to be with the Colorado Rockies. taking on the Houston Astros. I like an over in this one, over 8.5. You get that minus 112. And the main reason for that is I think you have two relatively decent hitting teams, but you have two pitchers that have a higher ERA and two pitching staffs that have given up a lot of runs and a lot of home runs. So I think we could be in for an over in this one. I'm curious to see what you think about that most, but for me, Rockies Astros over 8.5.
Yeah, I don't like either of these pitchers. May I'm not really sure how to pronounce his name. Mejia. From what I can see here, he has a really low barrel rate to hard hit rate, so he's getting weak contact, but it's not actually helping him prevent runs from scoring. He has a under 20% whiff rate, under 13.5% strikeout rate. His walk rate's over almost 11%. Expected batting average and slugging percentage is just too high. 321 expected batting average, 530 expected slugging percentage. Nothing in here tells me that he's going to be able to handle an Astros team. And then on the other side, Ryan Weiss, his metrics aren't any better. 11.5% barrel rate to 54.5% hard hit rate. That's clearly worse. His strikeout rate's actually not bad at 26.8%, so that might help against Rocky Road, which is what we like to call Colorado. But overall, if Colorado is going to touch him, they're going to hit the ball hard. I like the over a lot, and I don't trust either of these bullpens, so I think this is a really good look.
Awesome. Glad to hear
Yeah,
it. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I
What do you
would
got?
definitely agree with you, Prince. You're looking at because something we're used to with the scene with the Astros, and it's not the case anymore. Is what made the Astros a dominant team is not just because they were timely hitters, great hitters, but they've always had a great starting rotation. Their starting rotation is terrible now. This is the 25th ranked starting rotation versus literally the last starting rotation in the league. Both teams, like as we saw yesterday, both teams will give up runs at the end of the day from the starting rotation. Spencer Argetti wasn't terrible, but I don't trust Ryan Wise. And as much as like the Rockies are a weird team, I can see this getting rocked. I don't even mind doing the first five over 4.5 as a play. I don't even know if either pitcher is going to last 5 innings, but like you said, the bullpen for the Rockies is terrible too. So any kind of over in this game, I like. The pitching is atrocious in this series. We saw it in the first series too between these two and Coors Field.
What was the over under again? Sorry.
8.5.
So 3 of the last 5 for Colorado has gone over that, and then for Houston, 2 of the last 5, but 2 games ended at 8 runs. So definitely getting there in terms of scoring volume. I like this play a lot. All right, let's get into the home run dingers, sprinkles of the day. Prince, who do you got today?
Yeah, for me, I'm going to go with Jordan Alvarez plus 331 in this same game taking on the Rockies. Again, we just mentioned it. These are two pitching staffs. They give up a lot of runs, but specifically to give up a lot of home runs. So I think Jordan Alvarez might be in for a good outing here tonight. And go yard. So plus 331 for one of the better hitters in the league. Jordan Alvarez.
You're not just talking about one of the better hitters. You're talking about one of the best hitters, who is probably also one of the hottest hitters in the league. 21.8% barrel rate, which is double good. Like if you have a 10% barrel rate, you're all right. 21.8 is elite, and he's hitting the ball at a 47.3% hard hit rate. I absolutely love this play. I'm surprised that you got the number that you did. I think that's phenomenal value.
Awesome. Me too. Thanks.
Definitely going to be using a home run boost or some kind of bonus for that. Drew, who do you got?
So I got some news. I don't know if you saw it, but the Angels changed their starting pitcher to Brent Suter. And correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Brent Suter is a reliever, so he may be a bulk. They may try to do a bulk reliever role in that case. So that's very interesting that they're doing that. They may bring in I forgot the guy's name was that they had as a Graham something. But in this case, they a lot of the Yankees hitters are like plus 200 and plus 300 and stuff like that. In that case, I was going to do Jazz, and then I was going to do Connor Griffin, but it doesn't look like Connor Griffin's playing in that case. So let's go to the Rangers game. Let's go to Sacramento. We have Jacob Lopez versus Jack Leiter. Jack Leiter has been impressive. He had one bad start, which is last. Jacob Lopez is a lefty. He's been very suspect at times. He struggles to get pretty deep into games, but he is a lefty. But I'm going to go with somebody here. Oh, wait. Oh, great. Looks like Corey Seager got scratched too. You know what I'm gonna do? Because I believe in him. You know what? I'm just gonna do this. Brandon Nimmo plus one home run plus 575. I love it. Three straight people I wanted. I can't do. So let's do Brandon Nimmo plus 575. Even lefty lefty. I trust him to go deep into the shortest porch in right field. I always like to favor lefties in that park because there's much shorter porch in right field than there is left field, and the weather's going to be good as usual. There's not much elevation there, but of course, as we know, it's a minor league stadium. And especially with the weather there, and it's usually warmer, and the ball carries more, and the wind usually blows out. Give me Brandon Nimmo.
Yeah, I like it. I'm going to go also Rangers Athletics game here. There were two batters that I was kind of looking at, and I really went for this on a value standpoint because I don't think that we're going to get over 400 odds on this man coming up shortly. Nick Kurtz. This man last year was an absolute revelation. I mean, he's batting barrel rate at 13.8% to a hard hit rate at 58.6%. This guy, if he's touching the ball, he's smashing it. The wind is blowing left to right, favoring left-handed hitters. And you're going to be giving me a pitcher who gives up a solid amount of home runs and a lot of contact. I really like Nick Kurtz to go the yard against Jack Leiter, who it could be having a really good day. I really do like Jack Leiter overall, but he does have a 16.7% barrel rate and a 50% hard hit rate, which lines up perfectly with Nick Kurtz. So if Leiter gives him a fastball and Kurtz gets a hold of it, it's going far. Yeah, I think this is probably my favorite home run prop of the week so far. Oh, and I got that number at a pretty crazy number, 418. My model, and I would probably price this at around 350 at the tall end, probably closer to 320 or less even.
I love that pick. And something that I read too. Of course, I think we're only like 18 games in the season for this. I remember it wasn't I read, I heard the A's announcers. I can't say I'm one of the A's announcers, but that's a different story. But they said that Nick Kurtz last year, his first 17 games, he didn't hit a home run until his 17th game in the major. So seems like a slow starter. 17 or so games in. I love your pick. It's good to take him early. I think he eventually comes back to his normal self. What he's adjusting to is how people are pitching to him. We saw the end of the last season because people were more attacking him and stuff. It's not that it's not that what is it called? That he's like necessarily just being impatient. Is just like I think he's number one in the league for like pitches per at bat again. So he's going to adjust to how people are pitching him. He's going to adjust to the breaking balls people are pitching him in. And then eventually he's going to draw a lot of walks. And then eventually it's going to turn into trying to find out when pitchers are throwing strikes to him. And I think he'll figure it out.
Yeah, something that you just mentioned that did strike out to me, pun intended. He has a 39.5% strikeout rate right now, which is among the league worst. But he also has a 22.4% walk rate, which is among the league's best. So that lines up exactly with what you were saying. If you wanted to sprinkle on the over 1.5 strikeouts for Nick Kurtz at plus 110, I actually don't mind that at all. I wish that I can get the over a half a strikeout at minus 160, minus 180. I would actually play that straight up. So if he doesn't strike out in his first at bat, that is a number that I'm going to go live bet right away. I think that there's a lot of value. Nick Kurtz is striking out way too often. But yeah, I'm all over Nick Kurtz today. I love him, man. Yeah, I think it's really good. And if you're looking at a walk prop, you want to get that in because he's also, if he doesn't walk in his first at bat, currently his walk is priced at minus 135. That'll go to about even money after the first at bat. So that's something that I'm going to be looking out to look out for as well. All right, we're at 12:27. I'm going to pass the mic over to Drew. Is there anything else on the slate that we haven't talked about, or something that you wanted to mention? Any live plays, anything that you're looking over in the world of sports in general? Floor is open to you, man.
Yeah, definitely. I would say the only live play lookout, you kind of mentioned that game, is the possible over for the Blue Jays Brewers. See how Brandon Sproat and Patrick Portman kind of like settle into the game, how they do first inning. But that would be my only like live plays for baseball wise. But something I'll mention that was kind of funny. Like I was thinking in my head, I was like, wait, what if you did Nick Kurtz home run with over 1.5 strikeouts? I'd probably been some crazy odds. But yeah, that's it for me for baseball.
How about 1 strikeout, 1 walk, and 1 home run
That
parlayed
would be
together?
crazy.
And honestly, like players like him, players like Judge, that's not a far out possibility, especially when you have a higher total expected and you're going to get 4 or 5 at bats. You have some room there, not maybe something that we'll kind of play around with a little bit later in the season. I think that would be a really fascinating sprinkle that is correlated more than picking 2 different games and trying to get plus odds. I think that's a really cool idea. Let's definitely play around with it. All right, Prince, what do you got for us today? I think you might have some soccer. Do you have anything in the soccer world today?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, so we've got the UEFA Conference League and the Europa League both in action this afternoon. Actually, starting here this morning in about 15 minutes live, 12:45 p.m. Eastern time. So I'll go ahead and try to get through them real quick so you guys can get these plays in. We're looking at the Conference League first. I like a score goal parlay here. This is one of my specialties that we play a lot. So I'm looking at the match between Shakhtar Donetsk taking on AZ Alkmaar. Shakhtar do come into this one with a 3-0 aggregate lead from the first leg. This, of course, is the second leg. But I like Shakhtar to score here just to get a goal against AZ Alkmaar. I think AZ Alkmaar being down 3-0 right now in the aggregate, they're going to need to push for goals. And usually when AZ pushes for goals, they concede goals. So I think Shakhtar, although they are up in the aggregate, I think they have a great chance to get another goal here on a counterattack as AZ will be forced to make themselves very exposed in the back. So give me Shakhtar Donetsk to score. Shakhtar, by the way, they have scored in 9 of 10 Conference League matches, so in great scoring form here in this tournament. And we're going to parlay that with Fiorentina taking on Crystal Palace. I like Fiorentina to score as well. Fiorentina, they have scored in 13 of their last 14 home matches. Fiorentina is down 3-0 to Crystal Palace, but I'm not a big believer in Crystal Palace's defensive metrics here, so I think Fiorentina at home needing to chase the game, I do believe they can score as well. So Shakhtar Donetsk to score parlayed with Fiorentina to score a goal, and that one comes in at minus 125. And then if I were to go to the Europa League here real quick, I'm looking at the match between Nottingham Forest taking on Porto from Portugal, of course. This one comes in as a 1-1 aggregate scoreline right now as we're entering the second leg. Give me Porto to advance at plus 120. I'm surprised we're getting plus money here on a Porto side that, in my opinion, is just quite frankly better than Nottingham Forest. Forest, of course, still battling relegation in the EPL. So not a big believer in Forest. I think Porto has enough here to get over the line, even if this goes to extra time, penalty, shootout, whatever the case may be. I think Porto is the higher quality side here, and I think they do advance in this one at plus money. There's no way I can pass that up. Porto to advance. Plus 120. Most before I move on to the NHL, any thoughts on any of those plays?
I like your AZ Alkmaar play a lot. I think that's a really sharp look. We've talked about this a lot in our conference league shows, and I'm sorry that we didn't get to it last week and this week. I really did want to, but I was on vacation. I think that's an excellent look. And Crystal Palace, we've talked about this a lot. Their defensive metrics scream negative regression sooner or later. I think it's just a fact, and I think getting Fiorentina to score 1 goal is a really sharp look.
Yep.
Happy and excited to be taking these plays, and again, I think Porto also, Nottingham Forest also not necessarily that great defensively, and we've been waiting for them to falter. So yeah, now's the time.
Yeah, really surprised. Honestly, very, very surprised we're getting Porto at plus money to advance. I'm not really sure what the reason is. It kind of scares me just a little bit. Like, is there something I'm missing here? Why are we getting plus money for the better team? But I'll dive in. I don't care because I don't care what the circumstances are. I think Porto's just a better side. All right, let's go ahead and move over to the ice tonight. We are in the final night of the regular season in NHL. I do have a 2-pick parlay here that I think has a good chance of hitting. The first game I'm looking at here is the Anaheim Ducks taking on the Nashville Predators. I like it over in this one, over 5.5 goals. Both of these teams come into this one bottom 10 defensively. And the Ducks actually, they are fighting for playoff positioning here, as it's pretty much them and the Oilers, but they're both fighting for home ice advantage in this final game. So I think we see a high scoring game with two teams that are not very good defensively. So give me the Ducks Predators over 5.5. I'm going to parlay that with another game here, with the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Vancouver Canucks, or I call them the Cussucks because they're terrible. Give me the Oilers here. Team total over 2.5. The Oilers, again, fighting for home ice advantage versus the Ducks here in the playoffs. So I think both of these teams, the Ducks and the Oilers, are going to be motivated in this one to get home ice against each other. So, and of course, the Canucks have allowed the most goals in the entire National Hockey League. So I like the Oilers here, over 2.5 goals, parlayed with the Anaheim Ducks Nashville Predators over 5.5 goals. That parlay comes in at minus 114. Stern, I know you said you're out on the regular season. You're going to wait for the playoffs, but any thoughts on this one at all before I move on?
I actually really like your play here. I shouldn't say actually like I'm surprised because I usually like your plays. But I really like this one a lot. I think the Oilers are a sharp look. They got to get it together sooner or later. And then the Anaheim Ducks, they've been a powerhouse team all season. Nashville has been solid. I have a 7% edge on the over in this game overall, which is pretty solid. Usually I'm looking at around anywhere from 3 to 5% on a bettable edge. So getting a 6-7% edge is really, really, really solid. I like this play a lot, man.
Awesome. Love to hear. All right. And then finally for me, guys, we're going to go to a land less traveled here on the show, but I'm looking for something extra here, something, a little sprinkle here, maybe have some fun and win some big money. I'm looking at Live Golf. We got the Live Golf taking place in Mexico City. Of course, the Live Golf goes 3 rounds, not 4. So I believe it's going to be today, tomorrow, and Saturday, I believe, is the 3 days that they go, 72 holes. It's going to start at 3 p.m. Eastern. And I have a sprinkle, just a light sprinkle here on the end of round 1 leader. I'm going to sprinkle Tyrell Hatton at plus 1850 to be the end of the round 1 leader. The reason for that is he finished 3rd at the Masters last week. So I'm going to ride the hot hand here, or the hot club, I guess I should say, with the guy that is in form. Had a great outing last week at one of the bigger prestigious tournaments in the world. And I'm going to see if we can carry that over here in round 1 at Mexico City and Live Golf. So sprinkle, light sprinkle, guys, 10th of a unit. Tyrell Hatton plus 1850.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. I think he's really in good form. I think this is a really good spot. DeChambeau and Rom are the only 2 people who are betting favorites in front of him. Neiman has another chance there, but yeah, I just bet it for a quarter unit. I'm going to be excited and slightly paying attention when I'm not watching baseball. All right. Anything else on the slate?
No, that should do it. We can go ahead and recap our plays if you want, or you want to get Drew to go in first, and you can go, and I'll close this out.
All right, Drew. Get us started with our recap here, man.
Yeah, I have Max Fried over 18.5 outs at plus 115. And then I have Chris Bubich over 5.5 strikeouts and minus 135, both these games. The Royals game starts at 1:10 p.m. and the Yankees game starts at 1:35 p.m. So make sure to get them in, of course, because they start relatively soon. And then lastly, a sprinkle of a Brandon Nimmo home run at plus 575.
Yeah, definitely send those picks out to me so that I can get them on the recap screen. Sooner or later, our home run props are going to start smashing, literally. I'm on the Pirates' first 5 money line and the full game money line at minus 125. I have the TV going up in front of me. The game is starting right now. So if you want to get that in, or wait for a live play if you can get a better line later. I got the Angels' first 7 team total under 3.5, under 2.5 at minus 135 over on DK, another half a unit play. And then my main play of the day is the Rays first 5 money line minus 125 over the White Sox. My home run sprinkle of the day is Nick Kurtz plus 418. Yeah, let's have a day, man. Let's have a day.
Yep, and then for me, guys, we're going to the Conference League. I like Shakhtar Donetsk to score, parlayed with Fiorentina to score a goal. We're going to get that around minus 125 odds. In the Europa League, give me Porto to advance, taking on Nottingham Forest. That one comes in at plus 120. Over on the ice, NHL, final night of the regular season. I'm going to take the Ducks Predators over 5.5, parlayed with the Edmonton Oilers team total over 2.5 goals. That one comes in at around minus 114. Heading over to the majors, I'll take the Rockies Astros over 8.5. Runs in that one minus 112. And then a couple sprinkles here. We're looking at a home run sprinkle for Yordan Alvarez taking on the Rockies at plus 331. And then finally, another sprinkle here in Live Golf, Mexico City, end of round one leader. We'll do a light sprinkle on Tyrell Hatton plus 1854. An awesome payout there. That's going to do it for us, guys. This has been the OnlyBets Sports Podcast, Thursday edition, alongside SternBets, Drew DeLucci. We appreciate all you guys joining as always. I am the Prince of Picks, and we will talk to you guys Friday morning, same time, same place. We appreciate you, and we'll see you then. Thank you.